for $2.99.
$2.99. That's a price that you cannot argue with. Well, it's a fractious Freaky Friday, and that's New York Vinnie. I'm Michael Knight.
And it's Michael Knight right there.
You'll never guess what the name of the show is.
Let's see. The
Mm-hmm.
Morning Buzz.
It's been used, but I'm going to go with that. Sure, it's the Morning Buzz.
Two Guys in a Handbag. Stay awake for the show now, Mikey.
two guys in a handbag?
Two Guys and a Handbag, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's been used.
It's not the focus I was looking for, but I'll go with it. Two Guys in a Handbag.
Two Guys in a Handbag. All right, welcome to Two Guys in a Handbag.
Now, is it two guys and a handbag or two guys in a handbag?
Well, if you say it with enough slur to it, it could be either way, which includes...
I know the feeling.
You have people that will cheer it because it's two guys and a handbag. So it's two guys and maybe we found a handbag, or it'll be other people, probably liberal Democrats will say two guys in a handbag. That's something we hadn't thought of yet.
I'd like to try for an alternate title, Two Guys with No Panhandle. Or the No Panhandle Show.
See, I'd be okay with that. Two guys and no panhandle. Grab us any way you want.
Yeah.
I think we're rolling towards something here. I didn't know we were going to rename the show this morning, but if that's what we're going to do, I don't mind two guys in a handbag with a panhandle.
Two guys in a handbag.
It's a little too long.
It is wordy.
There's got to be a way to cut that down. Anyway,
Mikey and Vinnie take on Friday. We'll try it that way.
Yeah, we'll take on Friday, and then we'll go from there. For those of you who are just joining us, or may have just found us this morning, lucky you. I mean,
how's your panhandle? I hope you don't have one, but if you have one, if you are suffering with a panhandle, we know how to get rid of that for you. For instance, Spolparkia has no panhandles, and they've had great success this way.
Yeah, but they get all those burnt towels from picking up the frying pans with no panhandle.
Well, there's a downside to it if you don't know how to act. But excuse me,
I try to. I just try to, I try to fix America one idiot at a time. That's our motto for the show today. Fixing America one idiot at a time.
And fixing one idiot can take all day. It can take an 8 hour.
Well, yeah. Day. Yeah, it really depends on which idiots what idiot are you trying to fix? Are you trying to fix a sports idiot? You're trying to fix a political idiot? You're trying to fix just an idiot? You're trying to fix the guy on your block that parks his car in your driveway, even though you've told him 100 times don't park it there. And so finally one day you get in your car and you just drive it through his car. That idiot. There's a lot of
There's a lot of room when you consider the idiots that we have to deal with. It's a broad spectrum. The sports idiot can't be fixed, as you know. There's really nothing that you can do to fill the hole that creates the original problem of the sports idiot. There's no upside to fixing the sports idiot. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, the sports idiot can be a challenge if you're in the idiot fixing business. I mean, because once you fix, first of all, now that they've added soccer to the mix, and soccer idiots, I believe, are the worst idiots in the world. Because most sports, somebody likes them, and they talk to you about them, and you're kind of okay, or I like it. I like baseball. You like baseball. We talk about the history of baseball. We talk about baseball teams. We talk about trades that baseball teams make, and we move on. But if you walk up to, if you happen to encounter a soccer idiot,
What do they talk about? What do they?
and he or she comes up to you and says, "Oh, did you see what SPA United did last night?" And you go, first of all, what the hell is SPA United? What city did they play in? What world did they? Where did they play? They don't have their name in the name of the team. It's SPA United. Is that a brewery? Is that a mental hospital? What is it? So after they get finished explaining what it is, it's an association of 6 cities in the middle of England that got united and got a team up. You say to them, well, to be honest with you, Herbie, I don't really care about soccer. Oh, holy moly. It's like you lit off a firecracker onto somebody's ass.
They are offended and they launch into their diatribe.
Oh, I mean, it's like it's like if you talk to a Trumper. It's the same thing. It's that, well, you don't understand what soccer is done. It's the world's game. Real men play soccer. You have to see what they do. Have you been to a game? I mean, you go through. We've heard them all. We've heard every possible influencing explanation or influencing diatribe about trying to win. And they spend an inordinate amount of energy trying to make you like soccer. And as you and I both have a similar personality in that if somebody tries to make us like something, you may as well just forget about it.
Yeah.
Because it could be oxygen and we wouldn't like it.
Plus, you shouldn't have to sell it that hard if it's so wonderful. It should sell itself. And
I've been to several soccer games. And as I've said many times before, the only soccer games I ever enjoyed was the action. It was because of the action going on in the stands, not the action that was going on the field, because there was no action going on. They had the world's greatest player playing in the stadium. And I was sitting there going, looking at the girls. Or, what are you barbecuing there? That smells good? What are you marinating that meat in? It was just, it just didn't do anything for me. Now again, granted, this was the 60s and it was a game that was really played by immigrants mostly. Baseball was arguably a revitalized sport in New York. Football was coming into its own in New York with the Jets and the Giants going at it. One at Yankee Stadium, one at Shea Stadium. I mean, you had a lot of stuff going on. The Knicks were good. You had the Rangers were good. The Islanders came along. I mean, there was a lot of sports going on. And, your neighbor Herbie is trying to sell you on this game where people run around in their shorts and guys kiss each other.
I have never seen an entire game. Never sat down and watched it from start to finish, win, lose, or draw. Never.
Yeah, I don't have the patience for it. It's not my type. I don't have the patience for a lot of things, I'll admit. I have less patience now than I did when I was 40 or 50. And I understand. I mean, one of the things that fascinated me about Seattle when the first time I came here was driving by Green Lake and it was pouring rain. And there's kids out in the pouring rain at 9:00 at night running around, kicking the ball around. So I'm going, there has to be something to it. So let me look for it. But again, the World Cup is coming here next year. And I mean, I'm going to leave town. I don't want to be anywhere around it.
You'd have to run a hotel to be interested in the World Cup coming to Seattle.
Well, I just don't. It's just not interesting to me. It's great that it's here, and it's great that the Sports Commission got an opportunity to get it or, do something with it. And they're going to bring it here, and I'm sure it's going to fill up stadium, the stadium and hotels and restaurants and everything like that. But to me, it's it's going to be a bunch of people fighting each other because they like their team. I don't know.
I have an update to change the subject ever so slightly. I have a pokey update.
I'm always up for a pokey update.
Yesterday, it was Wednesday, the day that we talked about pokey, the eensy weensy tiniest little blue belly lizard, only that long, total body, perfectly miniature blue belly lizard, had found his way into our house and was hanging out by the cat dish. And that was no place for safety if you're a tiny baby blue belly lizard, because Puna, our most aggressive and curious cat, wanted to get to know this lizard intimately.
From the inside out.
He gave the impression that he was going to eat this lizard if given the opportunity. And I thought that he harmed him. I thought Pokey got hurt in the exchange somehow and couldn't find him.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't think the worst, but couldn't find him, and he wasn't around anywhere. So Thursday morning, I get up, go in the kitchen to make coffee for Kristen and myself. And who's there on the floor scurrying toward me is Pokey, seemingly in full health. The cat, Puna, found him again and was standing over him with more curiosity than menace. And I said, this can't last. We've been too tolerant here. I pick up little Pokey, put him in a dish, take him outside, release him on the deck where he can find bugs and he can sit in the sun, grow up to be a full lizard and enjoy his life as best he can.
And lizards like the sun.
Lizards love the sun because they're cold-blooded and they gotta be in the sun. And yesterday was in the 80s, so it was a good day to have him be free. So he survived the cat. He survived a life of cat food. He survived my reluctance to pick him up the first day and
saving his life.
Doesn't matter. And his life has been spared. At least he will not be consumed by one of our cats. And he survived the couple of days of living in the kitchen. Why he chose that, how he got there, we'll never know. And so he beat the odds and will grow up to be a full-size lizard. The funny thing about
I wouldn't get so positive yet about beating the odds. I mean, it is LA. There's many obstacles a lizard would have to go through.
The funny thing about LA is that it's full of blue-belly lizards. There are blue-belly lizards all around. And the good news is this one has been spared. Pokey's out there on the deck somewhere doing what he does every morning. You know how lizards do little push-ups? They go.
No, we don't. I don't think we have lizards in the Northwest. I think it's too cold here.
Damn, that's no good. That's a bad sign. But you might be right.
Yeah, I mean, I think environmentally, it's probably not a place that lizards want to hang out.
I hadn't given that any thought, but I see your point. I don't recall, when living in Seattle, I don't recall seeing blue-belly lizards or garter snakes or any kind of minor league reptile that would be hanging out. And
yes, snakes I've seen once in a while, but not a lot. I mean, most of the animals that I've encountered or thought about encountering are warm-blooded, like cougars and bears and animals that kind of generate heat while they're eating you.
Not reptiles.
Not reptiles who are, who need your heat to kind of survive, or somebody's heat.
Well, it's funny. My memory is not complete, but I don't recall seeing lizards in Seattle.
Yeah, now I know a woman that used to keep some reptiles. that lived over in Redmond. She had I think a gecko and another reptile, but it was in a warm tank, and her apartment was always like 110 degrees.
Yeah, they like it
Every
warm.
time you went over there, it was like, let's go out. Let's get out of here. Yeah, I mean, it's 89 outside and it's 112 in here. So we may want to get out in the car and put the top down or cut the top off or do something to get some air. Unfortunately, humans aren't predisposed to that kind of temperature. I don't know. I mean, it gets over 100 degrees, 105 degrees. I get a little
verklempt.
I mean, I remember, what was it? Not last year, but the year before, it started hitting 112 on the thermometer, and roads were buckling. And I'm talking about, it was 112 like out in North Bend, not 112 in like downtown Seattle. I mean, right. I was driving. I got in the car. Aaron and I got in the car, and we drove out to North Bend, and there's a thermometer clock with the light bulbs, old time thing out there, and that thing was pinned on 113. If I can take a degree off for age,
that's a little warm.
Yeah, I mean, people here were roasted. I'm driving this car. Thank God it was a Subaru and had a mighty air conditioning system, because we spent the night in the car.
Wow.
I filled it up with gas and went out to North Bend and parked somewhere and got in the back and slept in the car with the air conditioning going. I mean, not probably what you'd want to do, but how do you sleep when it's 112 degrees out?
If you're a lizard, you just got on the deck.
If you're a lizard,
you're set.
You're happy, right? I mean, you're picking up the heat off the ground alone is probably enough to keep you. But 2 days later, it was 61 again.
With a little cloud cover, with sun breaks.
Sun breaks, that's what it was. Harry Wappler was extolling the virtues of sun breaks. That's a beautiful thing.
So we haven't touched on any sports except our mutual mistrust of soccer as a sport. Apparently It is a sport, although that cannot be proven legally, I don't think. I don't know if anyone's going to go to court and try and prove that soccer was a sport. But if they were to, the results don't really apply here, and they don't matter to you and I. What about the trade that the Mariners made? I only have one clarification I'd like you to help me with, and that is they call this kid, a first baseman, a slugger, and yet he's only got, 12 home runs?
Yeah, I think that's
wishful thinking. That's not.
Yeah, that's something I wonder about when you have somebody who's he's supposed to be, the answer or one of the answers, and all of a sudden, he's a slugger. Now, Josh Naylor is who we're talking about. I know he was an all-star. I don't know, was it last year before? He's 28 years old. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year.
So is this a rental?
Well, it appears to be. He's got 11 home runs in 59 runs batted in 93 games. One thing that I think the Mariners desperately needed was a lefty a lefty hit, a left-handed hitter, and he is that. Um, it'll. I mean, look. He was a guy that was somebody that there was some interest in the offseason. He wound up, I believe, signing with Cleveland and was traded to Arizona. He's hitting, as I said, a 292 hitter with 11 home runs and 59 ribbies. I mean, Cal Raleigh does that in an afternoon. Mm-hmm. But it's another bat, and they need a bat. There's just, they need a bat. And it'll be interesting to see what other moves there are. It's interesting. It's galling to me, actually, that the market's top available bat that they say is another Arizona player who
looks like you've frozen, Vinnie. I'm going to give you a second to
let him go.
There you go.
And everybody said that you shouldn't let this guy go. He was on the same plane as the guy in L.A., who people said you shouldn't let go. You should have signed him. You should have figured out a way. You had an option and you didn't take the option. So obviously you were working on the cheap. Now you got to give up prospects to get Eugenio back here. And, so now you're going to pay much more. You're going to pay much more than you would have anyway. You're going to give up. Now, I forget who they gave up. Let me see if I can pick it up real quick and see who they gave up for Naylor. I think they gave up, Brandon Garcia, who they just ran they run these, most clubs are doing it now. They put the guy's picture in a uniform on social media and say, "Welcome to Seattle, Brandon Garcia." Now, I think they may have just called this guy up, and now I don't think he got a chance to actually put the uniform on. But they gave up their number 13 ranked and their number 16 ranked prospects, and they gave up 2 pitchers for Josh Naylor, who probably will be here till the end of the year at the max. If they don't package him for somebody else and send him back to the Diamondbacks, who knows? But I mean, I guess the good thing, if you can read anything into this, is the Mariners were trying to sign him in the offseason. So this gives him a little bit of time in a Mariner uniform, and maybe if they want to make another run at him and try to sign him going down the road here, that's good. But you gave up 2 pretty good pitching prospects to get him.
And they're gone. They're gone forever. They're gone forever. And what you got in return will only be here for the end of the season.
Right. Now, again, maybe there's a possibility that they make a deal for this guy and they keep him here because they were trying to get him, in the offseason last year. He's not an expensive player as it goes right now. He's making $10 million a year, $11 million a year. And, if he can get in here and get settled, he makes the lineup a lot more formidable. I mean, you got Raleigh, Rodriguez, and Arozarena around him in that middle of the lineup. All of a sudden, maybe it makes a lot of sense.
I think the only downside to it is the rental aspect of him, the uncertainty of him staying with the team past this season. So you got him for 2 pitchers. You got a rental guy. You got a first baseman, batsman, slugger in quotation marks, a 290 hitter, and you have him till the end of the year.
Well, unfortunately, when they changed the system in '95, when they came back from the strike, and they set up the wild card, and they created a system where several teams, and they think this is good, the Lords of Baseball. They think that the idea that you've created more buzz around your team because they may be in it. They created, in essence, a playoff system as opposed to the best team in the 4 divisions. They cut things up. They created the situation baseball, and sometimes it works unbelievably. People always talk about how the Mariners screwed up in I'm trying to think of the year now, but they traded Jose Cruz Jr., who was supposed to be he's supposed to be going into the Hall of Fame this weekend, for Spoljaric and another pitcher, Paul Spoljaric, and I forget the other guy's name. Or they talk about the trade with the Red Sox that brought them that they gave up Jason Varitek for. But the reality was, and the situations for those trades were made by the system that said that a team that is this close to not being in it can get into it by making a trade and bringing in some more talent. And in those cases, and many other cases that I could go back and recount over the years, the trade that they make got the Mariners into the playoffs. Now, the price it's a high price that you pay. Bobby Valentine had a quote years ago that said, when you need a quart of milk and you get it when you're shopping at the supermarket, you pay 99 cents for it. But if you got to go at 4 a.m, you get that quart of milk at 7-Eleven, you're going to pay $4.99. But you need the milk, because if you don't come home with the milk, your wife is going to be pissed off. So you go and you pay the $4.99 for the milk. Well, that's the trade deadline. You probably could have got this player for less money at the beginning of the season, but you didn't think you needed him then.
And look at it from the Arizona point of view. Here's a guy who's been hitting for them this year. They're not in first place. They're not in any true danger of taking the division, somehow eliminating San Diego and LA and San Francisco. It makes sense for them to move him. He's not going to be guaranteed to play for them next year. They can put a prospect at first base. It makes good sense. They get a couple pitchers that are theirs, that actually join the staff and bolster their position so that they can be a better team. They can be more competitive. They can have a better rotation and a better bullpen. Those are real additions that the Arizona team made, and they did so knowing that first baseman was not necessarily going to be part of their team next year. His commitment was to find a better deal, and that's why he only signed for this season. It works for them. I think it's a much better deal for Arizona. What I would like to see is an aggressive arrival, come into town and start hitting the damn ball. And that's what the Mariners need, because they want someone to build a fire under them. They want someone to say, follow me. I feel like winning a game today. I feel like this is what we should be doing this very day. We should be playing baseball. We're going to win this game. We're a team on the move. We're a team for the postseason.
They need somebody that knows how to look at a 3-2 curveball and stay off of it, or that's what they need. They need somebody who can take an 0-2 fastball and knock it out of the park. I don't think there's a problem with somebody saying let's win this or anything like that.
If this guy is a 290 hitter, that could be the exact description of the fellow that you just are looking for. Somebody who is a tried and true pure hitter, a Edgar Martinez type of hitter, a
Yeah, they need somebody who's got that knows how to go in there and hit the ball when there's runners on base. They
there you
leave
go.
way too many runners on base. They're like the Mets in that regard. They just leave a ton of runners in scoring position. Now
Speaking of the
lately,
Mets, you know who the Mets are playing for the next 3 games?
the Giants, I believe.
You are absolutely right. Giants and Mets beginning tonight in San Francisco.
That's a beautiful thing. I mean, I probably should just get in the car and drive down there and um, go watch those games. But you know, I think the famous hot dog incident from Candlestick Park may prevent me from that. I may
You
still have
think
my picture up on the
watch
entrance
list?
all over to the ballpark, even though it was a different ballpark at the time. I think that that incident.
Can you tell us about the hot dog incident for those of us who've forgotten?
Well,
Maybe not.
yeah, maybe not. Just suffice it to say,
There was an incident.
for years after, and this was before my radio career started, but for a couple of years after the hot dog incident, people would come up to me like in places like Cala Food and Petrini's and Rockin' Robins and several other bars and stuff and say, "You're the guy from that hit the guy with the hot dog thing." The guy was hit my wife. You know, I mean, what was I supposed to do? You know, if somebody hits your wife or your girlfriend, you don't stand there and go, "Oh well, gee, I'm offended." No, you pick up the guy standing there with a hot dog cart, you grab it from him, and you hit the guy with it. It's easy.
It happened, and it cannot be denied.
It was not. It wasn't even a choice. Now, granted, I was 2 years out of New York or 3 years out of New York, so I still had a lot of that piss and vinegar in me. But the guy hit my girlfriend. Actually, she was my fiance at the time. And yeah, you just, I mean, I don't know. You're standing in a ballpark and somebody hits Kristen. What are you going to do? If there's a guy there with a big metal hot dog, Harry M. Stevens hot dog thing, and it's the closest thing to you, you grab it, you hit him. Free hot dogs for everybody in the section. I mean, they got a game, and as a matter of fact, it was a doubleheader, I believe. So they got 2 games, a fight, and 30 people got free hot dogs. I'd say that was a good day.
Did they get mustard with them, or did they have to improvise?
I think they had to improvise. That's something. This is an odd thing, Michael, but I strangely miss fights at the ballpark. I mean, remember you used to go to the ballpark in the 80s, and almost at Candlestick, almost every game you went to, there'd be like a fight.
A disagreement.
2 guys who, for whatever reason, didn't see eye to eye and decided to settle it in the Irish bar type of way. Just starting to pound each other. And I mean, all of a sudden you just see everybody in the place. I mean, there was some good enough fights that the players stopped and were looking up in the stands. So you knew that you were seeing something.
Candlestick was famous for that. There was something in the atmosphere that was conducive to.
Yeah, Candlestick was one of the Candlestick and Yankee Stadium.
Yeah,
were the
Yankee
best.
Stadium, definitely.
Yeah, were the best places for ballpark fights.
The funny thing about the atmosphere that we're talking about is that for football season, Candlestick Park was a winning park. It was a place where you came in and lost to the 49ers. You show up, bring anybody you want. I don't care what team it is. Bring anybody. Come on, get in here. You can't beat us. That was the atmosphere. That was the way the players thought about it. That's the way the crowd reacted. It couldn't have been 2 different spots than Candlestick for baseball and Candlestick for football. Remarkable.
Yeah, and there were certain teams certain teams that would come in, and it was almost like preordained that they were going to lose. No matter how good the Cowboys were, you could almost count on the fact that in Candlestick, it was going to be a great game, but they were going to lose. I believe the Rams were the same way, if I'm not mistaken.
Rams had a real long stretch of frustration and unhappiness with the 49ers, both at Candlestick and playing in LA.
And even later St. Louis, when they were there. I just remember going to some of those games and just you were like, that the 49ers are going to be, up 20 points by halftime. It's like they really shouldn't have left the hotel, the other team. Montana and Rice and Dwight Clark. And it was too much for them.
Roger Craig.
Roger Craig. It was, and then the defense was just, they couldn't score on them. They were like, it was almost like the 49ers would say, let's spot them 20 and see if they can come back. And they never could. Maybe even they let them get a touchdown or two. And sometimes they got within 3 points or 7 points. But never could. 49ers would just step on them. It was, it's hard to, I guess if you're a New England fan, you could understand it. And maybe if you're a Steelers fan, you can understand it. But, and I guess a Cowboys fan, but there's very few teams that carry on, in football I'm talking about now, very few teams that carry on that ability to stay that dominant for that long. And usually a team loses a quarterback. But, they didn't miss a beat when they went from Montana to Young. They didn't miss. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of people that argue that they got better because they got a younger quarterback.
They did the same thing with coaches. They went to Bill, the champion and the architect of the offense, Mariucci.
Yeah,
the defensive backfield coach. Damn, what was his name? He was the head coach and took him to the championship. What the hell is his name? Seifert.
Not Seifert. Yeah, George Seifert.
George Seifert.
Yeah, they just never missed a beat.
And the 49ers never told the Giants how they did it. They never told them about the magic of Candlestick because certainly it did not translate to baseball season.
No, unfortunately, it did. Well, again, now, if you lived in San Francisco, you know that the weather radically changes in September. If you sit in Candlestick in October, it's like you're sitting in other places in July. The weather just gets better as a rule. Now, I don't know now with all the changes, but October and November in Candlestick on a Sunday afternoon is a beautiful place. There's no fog. There's no nothing.
Sunny and warm.
But if you're there on July 1st, it's a whole different story. It's like you're in the middle of winter. Might as well be snow. And I don't know that the new place, now again, I don't know the football new place, but I don't think that the baseball new place is much better. It's still sticking out into the bay. It's still, above the Alamany Cut, which is kind of
I think just in terms of comfort and reliable weather, it's far better than the Candlestick was. Candlestick couldn't have been in a worse spot. It was in a
Yeah,
fog.
but it's also cold. I mean, it's also a very. I mean, it's it's still on a summer night. It's still cold ballpark. It's still gonna in the middle of July. You're not going in your shorts. You're bundling up, which I don't know. Again, some players don't mind it because everything else in the city is so cool that they probably don't even think about it that much. But Candlestick was such a concrete, it was the first really of those of the new style concrete multi-purpose
Monsters.
stadiums. They weren't even ballparks. They were stadiums. You had the Stick, then you had Shea, and Oakland Coliseum, and Riverfront and Three Rivers. The ballparks that were built between '62 and up until Comiskey Park, the new Comiskey Park, which was what, 90? Those ballparks were all vaults. They were concrete vaults. And
they're all gone now.
Yeah. Well, again, when Camden Yards opened up, it was such a radical idea. Is let's take the plans for basically it was let's take the plans for Ebbets Field and put escalators in.
And put it in a cool part of town and have architecture be factors and food amenities and lots of bathrooms and make it a family experience.
And find some piece of architecture that represents the town, that makes you feel like it's indigenous to that city. And so they started building them, first Camden Yards, which was opened in 94. And, and then every ballpark that opened after that had some kind of something of the city, with the best of them being really PNC in Pittsburgh, because it shows off the bridges, the steel work, the skyline. I mean, it's the perfect ballpark. It's just a phenomenal place to, you don't see a lot. If the ball team sucks, you have enough of other stuff to look at.
The experience is worth the effort.
Yeah, it's like, go to a game, even if the team sucks, still go, because the aesthetics of the ballpark are going to be something that you'll never forget. Safeco has that to a degree, or T-Mobile Park, but not to the degree. And part of the big reason is they put it a block too far down south. I mean, the baseball stadium should be, and I was talking with somebody about this the other day, the baseball stadium should be where the football stadium is. And the football stadium should have been at South Lake Union. If you were going to build two stadiums like you did, you probably should have put them
football first
in different places. And, that South Lake Union idea, but, they screwed that pooch royal because they were mad at Paul Allen for some reason, because you probably don't remember this, but they wanted to take that stretch of land that went from South Lake Union down to Westlake Center and make it a park. That was supposed to be Seattle's Central Park. And people didn't vote on it, didn't vote for it. Said, no, that's too much money. Which we have a tendency to do here.
Yeah. Regrettably, that's a trend.
And it's funny because as I'm saying this, I think about it, and there's so many things here in Seattle that have been, it's cost double or triple of what it would have cost originally because people said, oh, and I don't really want to do it. Like the mass transit system. We now have a beautiful mass light rail system that goes all over town. But they originally wanted to build that light rail system in 1965, which it would have cost, even in real money, a quarter of the cost. But they're, if you build that thing, people are going to move up here from California.
Does the light rail go to the airport?
Yes, it does. They just completed the stretch that goes. You can now go from Linwood down past the airport, and they just are opening up a stretch now that goes across, or will open, goes from downtown across to the east side. And there's another stretch they're going to open up that's going to go to Microsoft. And another stretch that's going down to Federal Way. So the cost of it is, again, 10 times what it would have been if they would have approved it the first time, even in 93 or 94 when they first proposed it. But it's a great ride. And we have the same thing with the ball players. Instead of hanging on to a player when you have them and paying them and signing him to a contract, you let him go. He gets good somewhere else. And then now you try to trade for him and sign him again with giving up top prospects. And prospects are good to have, but this team needs to win. This team needs to get to the World Series, this Mariner team. This team needs to spend whatever it takes to create some interest in this team. Because people are starting to get, I don't want to say down, because they still go to games, but they're starting to perceive this team as the Pirates.
They're looking at the reality of it. If they're going to win, how come they don't win?
Right.
Why aren't they competitive? Why aren't they consistently more aggressive?
The time to win is to win. And they have everything that they should have to win. They have a manager that's perceived as from here, even though he's not. He's still perceived as, he's a Seattle guy.
Yes.
They have Edgar Martinez on the coaching staff. They have pitching. They have almost everything they need, but they can't hit their way out of a paper bag a lot of times. Although, again, and I think we said this on Monday, since they hired Dan Wilson as the manager, they got like almost over 600 winning percentage. I forget exactly what the numbers are, but so they're a winning team. They just haven't put it together into one season. So maybe this deal for Josh Naylor will help them out. Maybe he'll be the exception to the rule, be the guy who gets here and starts socking the ball.
What's his first series? Starts tonight, I guess.
Tonight in Anaheim. I think they're down in Anaheim. So I think it'll be, it's going to be interesting to see what he does, and what, everybody feels like there's another move coming. Like the Mariners are gonna go for it. That they're gonna.
ESPN is saying third base.
Yeah, they got a guy there. Williamson is that he's okay. I mean, he catches the ball. He's no Brooks Robinson. He's no Clete Boyer. He's not even really an Ed Charles. But he's not a bad player. He's just, I don't know that he's a championship player. And if you go back to the lessons of teams that have won, I think you see I go back to what I know best. When you look at teams that have won over the years, they add championship players. The Mets added at 85, added Gary Carter and Keith Hernandez.
Strong
Those guys
at the
are
corners.
championship caliber players.
Strong up the middle, strong at the corners.
Yeah, they weren't guys that could catch the ball and maybe get a hit. They were guys that and I always talk about this with Edgar Martinez. Edgar Martinez was a great hitter, but I don't know if he was a feared hitter. When Gary Carter stepped into the box, when Keith Hernandez stepped into the box, those guys they made a pitcher nervous. When Ken Griffey Jr. stepped into the box, he made a pitcher nervous. And he knew how to capitalize and hit people's mistakes. Because part of the idea of the game is to get the pitcher nervous enough that he makes a mistake. He throws you a fastball when he's meaning to throw you a curveball. And you jump on it. And part of your thing is that you're supposed to notice that and hit the ball out of the park, right?
That's the idea.
Well, we'll see what Josh Naylor can do. That's what they need. They need a guy, as I said before, they need a guy that can get in the box, be 0-2, and recognize that the pitcher is going to sail it right down the middle of the plate and try to get you out and hit that thing into the next county.
Hey, Vinnie, what are you driving?
What am I driving? Boy, you would never believe, Mikey, I don't think you'd ever believe what I was driving. Well, some days I don't believe what I'm driving.
You're driving a Bentley?
No, I'm not driving. I wish I was driving a Bentley. I haven't seen a Bentley in a long time, man. I'm driving the 2025 Kia Sorento, and I like this ride. This is an SUV that hits way above its weight. It's a pretty car, a pretty color. This is the X Pro edition that is supposed to be outfitted for off-road driving. You're supposed to be able to take this thing off-road. I think it's got skid plates on the bottom. I haven't gotten under there and looked yet, but I've had a couple of these cars. The leather or the materials are such that they clean up easy, so if you get mud all over them. But it's a comfortable, practical, good car. Just one of those cars that if you're in the market for this type of vehicle, you consider. You're not doing your job if you haven't gone out and taken a look at this, even though you may be shopping a Ford or a Chevy or a Chrysler. You go and you take a look at this thing. It's a pretty car. As I said, a beautiful color. It's got good horsepower, good handling. And as I said, it has the extra added with the X Pro package of a ton of safety equipment like, lane change and, backup cameras all over the place. It's even got backup cameras in the front.
Wow.
Don't ask me why.
Kailani and Steve have that car.
They do?
Yeah, that color as well.
Yeah, it's a sharp car, and it's a safe car, and it's a solid car. So now it's a little expensive. I think this one taps in at just a tad over 50 grand, which I think again is expensive for a Kia. Yeah. But
you're right, it is expensive for a Kia.
But compared to what you get from other manufacturers, you go out and you get a Hyundai like the Palisade, you're probably getting about the same deal.
And with the
it's got a good warranty on it.
The unknown factor of the tariffs just make it more expensive.
Well, that's the thing is we don't know yet what the tariffs are, and I'm not sure if this car is built in America or not. I forget now. This might be built in Georgia, in West Point, Georgia. So I'd have to I've been to the Kia plant in LaGrange, Georgia, and I think that's where they're building it. Although I haven't done my research. I just got the car yesterday, so I haven't figured out where it's built and all of that stuff. But again, for what it is, it's a decent ride. I like it. I'm a fan of Kia. I have been since they turned their fortunes around many years ago. When you and I first started driving these cars, a Kia was something that you got. They sent you one, and you left it parked in the driveway.
Yeah.
Because you were afraid it was going to collapse on you, or it wasn't safe enough to drive. Now, it's a totally different story. They've done as complete a turnaround with their cars as Audi did in the 80s. You remember how, that Audis were horrendous. But Audi turned it around. Kia has done pretty much the same thing. They put out a quality vehicle that is worth it's expensive to say $50,000 for a Kia, but you get more for that $50,000, I think, than in most comparable cars.
And your show will discuss this and other items tomorrow. 11
yes,
o'clock.
We're also going to have our friends on. We have a couple of people who are our official adventurers of the show. They go on these every summer. They go on these adventurers. Last year they went on a rally, the Alcan Rally, and I think they won it in their class. Year before that, they went on some other rally that they won. Andy and Mercedes Lilienthal are going to join us. They went on they got a Subaru, and they went on a trip this year where you go across America, but you don't take highways. You take all tertiary roads, not even secondary roads, trails through woods and forests and all sorts of, just places that you really wouldn't go. But they got their Subaru and outfitted it up. Subaru gave them a Subaru. Naturally, they wouldn't give them a Volvo, And they made this trip, and it's not a race; it's just a test to see if you can do it. Now, I seen a couple of years ago, a guy and his buddy did this in an old 1940s Army Jeep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And they just traversed the United States through all these back roads and all these, you go through farm roads, and much of the route is not paved. You're going on dirt roads, and it's amazing to think that you'd go across, the entire state of Nebraska without hitting the interstate. But that's what they've done, and we'll talk to them about it tomorrow. And get a feel for what it was like.
They got to outfit their Jeep with all the things that they're going to need that might not come to mind unless you've done that kind of traversing before. What supplies do you require on an ongoing basis? What things do you have to have with you to be ready for any situation?
I would think Reese's peanut butter cups.
I was thinking some way to get you out of a ditch or a culvert or.
Yeah, but I'd still think you need Reese's peanut butter. I think you need a case of Reese's peanut butter cups.
You dropped off at special drop spots throughout the.
For when things go wrong and you're having one of those oh crap moments.
Yeah. Reese's
you whip out the big dumper pack of Reese's peanut butter cups with 3 of the large ones in it, and you eat that, and it comes to mind.
Settles you right down. You come up with a good idea.
Settles you down, and the peanuts go to work, and the next thing you know, one or two things are going to happen. You're going to find out that you're allergic to peanuts, and you're going to go into anaphylactic shock, and you're not going to be worried about anything that may be happening to the Jeep.
You will not complete the course today.
Right. Or you'll eat them and you won't be allergic to the peanuts, and you'll settle down and say, "Oh yeah, I packed that board in the back of the car there that can stick under the wheel, and it'll get me out of the situation I'm in." Or I packed
We're
a
on our way.
can of gas, or something that'll get us on extra battery, or a booster pack, or something that'll get us on our way.
When we get near Omaha, we're going to pull over and get more supplies, including Reese's Pieces.
Well, yeah, or we're going to go to the largest Kentucky Fried Chicken in the nation, which is in Omaha, and we're just going to get a big old bucket of extra greasy and sit there and eat it.
And proceed.
I mean, that's the thing. When you get into trouble like that, your best friend is some kind of really nasty food. When you break down with your car, you can only hope that you break down next to an In-N-Out, so that you can at least.
Should be state law.
It should be state law that they have to deliver to anybody who's broken down. It would calm people down. You'd see less people jumping on each other, less people honking the horn. Other than that, man, I got. It's going to be before we go, what's your thought on the weekend? Do you think that on Monday when we talk, I'm going to be just laughing at you because the Giants failed so miserably, or are the Mets going to stay true to what they've been doing so far for the last 30 games and just suck?
Giants were 0-6. Then they won 2 games, and in those 2 games they scored 18 runs. So they're on a roll. If they hit the ball, they're going to win. In the losing streak that they just put together, they were going into games with no runs, 1 run, no action at the bat at all. Nobody was hitting, strictly 0. No contact, no danger, no men left on, no bingo, no, everything was.
No, they had nothing.
They had nothing.
They were bringing nothing to the table.
And it was game after game. It was 6 games in a row where they just never showed, never threatened, never had any promise of a better day. And then they won 2 dramatically, 9-0 and 9-3, I think were the 2 games.
And Devers hit a couple of home runs in one of those games.
Yeah, he finally woke up.
So you're telling me that they're gonna go into New Candlestick Park there, or Willie Mays Stadium, and probably knock the Mets 2 out of 3 at least.
2 out of 3 is my hope. That's the best you can do.
See, I don't have any. There's nothing that the Mets have shown me over the last 30 games that would say that you're wrong. They've shown me nothing. Now, maybe they're going to go in there, and because Keith Hernandez is going to be home and he's going to, hang out with his brother, that maybe their fortunes will change.
Well, if there's ever a team that's suited beautifully to watching another team's fortunes change right in front of them and beat them at home, it's the Giants.
Yeah, that seems to be a thing for them, isn't it? They're known as last weekend the Mets got beat. I mean, they changed the Reds' fortunes. They were nothing, and all of a sudden,
you guys are down in the dumps. We can fix that.
They were swept by the Reds, not just beaten 2 out of 3, but swept by the Cincinnati Reds, who haven't done anything since 1975. George Foster was a Red the last time they did anything. Well, no, actually, I should take that back. Lou Piniella was a Red the last time that they did anything. They haven't done much except beat the Pirates. Since then.
Well, the first game will tell us what we got. Do we have 2 competitive teams, or do we have more of the same? theoretically the Giants are on an uptick, but they'll show you what they've got tonight.
Well, we're getting into it's an interesting time. It's almost the second best time in baseball. I mean, playoffs are really the best time, but the second best time is that week leading up to the trading deadline, and the week and August, because it's the month where teams really distinguish themselves. You can learn a lot about who you are in the month of August, because your team is now what it is going to be. And
so show me.
Show me. It's because it's not early anymore.
It's definitely not early anymore.
Early left the building last week. Now it's getting late. Now we're running out of time.
One change that is on the plus side for the Giants, and that is Justin Verlander won his first game as a Giant pitcher and pitched very well to win it. And it was a breakthrough for him. He was 0-8. He had no wins and 8 losses. This is his first win since becoming a Giant, and he's been with the team all year long. He's been pitching since the beginning of the season with the worst luck. They gave him no support. Game after game after game, 0 support. And now they finally scored him 9 runs, and he won the game going away.
Where's my buddy Robbie Ray? Is he still a Giant even?
He's an ace for the team. He's had one of the best years of in the entire staff. Robbie's having a great year.
Good, because again, another spectacular Mariners acquisition. They'll probably trade for him now and give up 3 young pitchers to get him on the staff.
You're probably absolutely right. They want Robbie Ray back. See, I told you he was a hit. He just needed some seasoning. We'll get him back. Pay top dollar.
And another member of the Eric Bedard Mariners Hall of Fame. All right, man. I will catch up with you Monday. Hopefully, one of us will have some good news. Although maybe with all luck, they'll win one. The Mets will win one, and the third one will be rained out.
That would be.
That'd be a miracle in San Francisco.
Be a Juan Marichal, yeah. Okay, Vin, have a good weekend.
All right, we'll see you on Monday. If the Lord's willing, the creek don't rise, pal.
Have a good show tomorrow at 11 o'clock.
Thank you. Drive time tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And right now, peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine. Go Giants.
Yeah, go Mets. Let's go Mets. LG, I got the shirt on right here. LGM, baby. See you, Mikey.
See you, man.
Thank you all for listening, too. We appreciate it. As always, have a good one.